Good morning, y'all. Thank you for tapping in for some real talk from the heart this morning. Our real talk this morning is from 1 Kings chapter 18. 1 Kings chapter 18 and verse 3, and it's about one of my favorite characters in the Old Testament, a man by the name of Obadiah. And so let's get into our real talk this morning. So Ahab summoned Obadiah, who was in charge of the palace. Obadiah was a devoted follower of the Lord, or as the New King James Version says, he feared Yahweh greatly. Obadiah, man, was a great example of the kind of man, the kind of person that you should give important responsibility to. I mean, his character, the things that he did by the hand of God, because of his heart for God. Again, man, he's the kind of person that you want to give important responsibility to. Now, let's keep it real, man. There are people whose character and whose commitment and whose track record reveal to us that they're probably not a good idea, right? They're not a good person to be given important responsibility to. But here it says he was in charge of the palace, and then there's that description that he feared the Lord greatly, or that he was fully devoted to the Lord. You know, Obadiah's name, the name Obadiah, it means worshiper of Yahweh. That's what his name means. And he lived out the meaning of his name. If you are going to appoint someone to be in charge, whatever it may be, right? Whatever is going to be supervising or be the head of something, be the superior of something, you want to make sure that they are a devoted follower of the Lord, because it's going to have an influence on how they carry out their responsibility. If they're fully devoted to the Lord, man, it is going to affect how they carry out the job they've been given to do, the responsibility. And so, if they are fully devoted to the Lord, they're going to live with a deep respect for the Lord, and that deep respect for the Lord is going to show in their work ethic and in the way they lead. Appointment without commitment leads to disappointment. When you give somebody something to do and they aren't dedicated and they aren't committed to it, it's going to lead to disappointment, and it's going to lead to really unfulfilled responsibilities. Unfulfilled responsibilities. Now think about what unfulfilled responsibilities lead to. When things aren't being done, when things are being left undone and unhandled, what happens is you have disorder, you have dysfunction, and you have really disablement, because now they're not able to do what they're supposed to do, right? And again, you can talk about this in the aspect of family. If someone's the head in charge of the family, and they aren't respecting God and living with a deep reverence before God, then listen, they're not going to be fulfilling their God-given responsibilities as the head of the house. Listen, if you look at it from the aspect of ministry, if a person's been appointed or given charge of a ministry in a church, and they aren't fully devoted to following God, or they aren't a person who lives with a great fear and reverence and respect for God, again, it's going to carry over into how they do ministry. They'll show up when they want. They'll do it half-heartedly, or not do it, to the glory of God. They'll just do it the way they want to do it. And again, that carries over in a lot of different areas of life, whether it's in our home lives or in our ministry lives. Man, being responsible and being devoted, man, those two characteristics definitely, man, they matter. They matter a great deal. Ministry is done well when it flows from a heart that is fully devoted to the Lord. Ministry is done well when it flows from a heart that serves out of a deep respect and reverence for God, and out of a heart that says, I don't want to disappoint him. I don't want to let him down. I don't want to displease God. Ministry is done well when it's done from a heart like that. Now listen, I want to close with this. If you and I are going to assume responsibility, if we're going to take charge of something in life, whether it's ministry again or life, man, let's make sure that we are fully devoted to the Lord. Because if we are fully devoted to the Lord, we will be devoted to the responsibilities that come with that command, that charge, that responsibility. Right? We're going to give ourselves to that. And again, let us apply this to our lives. Let us apply it to the ministries that God has given to us. These two things, to be responsible and to be fully devoted, man. Those two things matter. Obadiah, man, again, one of my great heroes of the Old Testament, this worshiper of Yahweh, this man who greatly feared God, who was fully devoted to God. And then later on, if you read on in 1 Kings 18, of course, Ahab sends him out to get the prophet, and he's afraid because, like, man, you know, but he tells Elijah, remember what I did, right, for the prophets of God, and how he spared the prophets of God. And he says, I feared God from my youth. Man, that's a great example for us today, man. The man Obadiah, fully devoted and responsible. Man, I hope this blessed you, man. I know it blessed me today. As I looked at Obadiah, I was like, man, is that me? Does that describe my life? Am I being responsible? Am I being fully devoted to God? Man, it caused me to do some introspection in my heart. And I hope it did for you as well. Christian, I hope it did for you as well. The Lord loves you. I love you too, man. Praying for you. Asking you please be praying for me as well. And again, thank you for joining me in my devotion this morning. God bless y'all. Talk to you soon.